So we're just going to do a quick video to kind of demonstrate the writer's process and the review process using GitHub, which is the one I'm hoping to kind of put all the writers on. I think this is much better than what we're currently doing with the matrix threads, which gets a little bit confusing. It gets a little bit clunky after a while. This is quite streamlined, and it will help the writers get their reviews a lot quicker, and it will also help the reviewers give better feedback. So we're going to try and do this from a single repo. So where this repo can be found is github.com/phoenixgreen. Okay, so once you're following me, or once you're writing for Cypherpunk Times, I can add you to this repo. Now, the repo that I'm looking for under repositories is the one that says Cypherpunk Times articles. Now, once you've been added to this repo, you will see this button here that says add file. And this is where you're going to add it. So this is the repo, Cypherpunk Times articles. And this is where all of your articles are going to be discussed, and you're going to kind of collaborate here and put your articles here so they can be reviewed. There's no need to create subfolders. What we're going to do once the articles have been published, they will go into subfolders which are dated, and you'll also get your own tags. That's still a little bit further down the line, but that will happen. We're just going to drop everything into this single folder for now. So how this process works, if you hit the add file button, and you can just create a new file. Obviously you do need to be logged in. So if you haven't got an account or whatever, you do need to be logged in. And I also have to invite you to this repo in order for you to be able to kind of get that button. So once we've got this, we get the editor's page here. And the first thing we need to do is put our title in. Now, what I tend to do is this is a program called Ulysses. It's an absolutely great program. It does spell checks, it does grammar checks, and it's actually a markdown editor, which is what GitHub is as well. Now, I tend to write all of my articles in Ulysses, and then I work between GitHub and Ulysses. So if I just copy all of this and I'll paste this into GitHub, and this is all kind of the demo here. When you're getting your reviews, what I find is useful is if you kind of look at what's being said and then you flip over to your preferred editor, whether that be Google Docs or Grammarly or Ulysses or Word, whatever that may be, is I tend to keep a fully updated version here and then copy it over, but maybe you'll find a better way of working. So the first thing we need to do is give our document a name. So I'm just going to call mine demo article. The most important thing here with GitHub, especially their titles, you're actually not allowed any spaces. That's why I've got this little hyphen here. And the file that you're creating is a .md file. So don't forget that extension .md. Once you've done that, that's fine. And we can get rid of these two bits here. We don't need them. Now, some of the information that I'm putting into this is going to help us with invoices. So as we move forward, there's going to be parts of the process that need to kind of be completed, like, did you do social media? Did you do this, that, and the other? So we're going to use this top header to create some tables. So you can very quickly just link to this document or link to your article in GitHub in your invoice. So the reviewer of your invoice can just go, yep, he's done that, done that, and pay for all those things in one chunk, rather than you having to have loads and loads of different links. So the first thing we've got in our table is author and then who the author is. Then we've got these 4 hyphens, and at the beginning you've got this colon, and what that allows is it tells you what side the table is going to be aligned at. You've also got these lines at the front and between each column, and also to kind of finish the column as well. So once you've done the header, once you've got the columns all set up, then I've gone ahead and said, right, what's the title of my article? So this one's just called article demo. And the idea here is that you might be able to generate better article titles. And it's part of the discussion that I want to have, is seeing if we can actually get more engaging titles as well. Some of my titles are absolutely naff. And I want to kind of improve that to make our articles on Cypherpunk Times more engaging and bring people in from the off, from the article. And it's the same with the headline or the featured text. So what Cypherpunk Times allows us to do, it allows us to obviously have the title, but also gives us this excerpt text. And it'd be really cool to make more out of that as well. So kind of this caption that brings people in. And it's part of the review process that I want to improve on, is actually getting people to use that and actually think about, look, how can we get people to engage from the very moment? Now, my rule of thumb is you've got about 9 seconds to convert someone to read your article. So if your title and your headline isn't perfect, you're probably not going to get the engagement that we're looking for. So it starts with that. And we'll do more on that. We'll do more on that in the chat channel. It's not a problem. The next thing is the Cypherpunk Times. So once your article has been published, you'll come back in here and you'll just add the link. And then below, like I said before, we're hoping to do a thing where each author publishes social media content. And this will be a way of just keeping track of that for your invoices. So if you've posted a Twitter link, you can provide the link here so the reviewer of your invoice can just click on it and find it's happened. If you created a thread, you can do the same. If you've created a poll, one thing I also want to get going is the Reddit pages as well. Google Decred's got its own Reddit page, and we need to utilize that. If we're writing for Decred, if we're writing for Crypto Spaces, we should really be posting our content in there, even if it's just title, excerpt, and a link to the Cypherpunk Times article. We really need to be making more out of that. It's one of our main places. Twitter and Reddit are our main places. The next one I want to utilize more is obviously Buy Some Relay. Now, we can't provide a link for this, but we can provide the title if we end up creating a social media post in Buy Some Relay. And I want all the, if we're writing for Decred, if we're writing for Cypherpunk Times, really and truly, we should be posting our content to Buy Some Relay as well and getting the most out of that platform. And then finally, we've got authors that are interested in Instagram and TikTok. And if they want to create some social media for that also, they could leave the link there. The next thing is the thesis statement. So I've just written the thesis statement in, and there's a lot of concerns about what is a thesis statement. Some people have just been writing their intro and including that as a thesis statement. What it's really about is it's an ideal opportunity. It's a one sentence thing where it just says what's this article about, and what is the aim? What are you aiming to prove? So what is this article about, and what are you aiming to prove from the article? And it's a really nice way of also engaging people, and that can be used as your intro. It might even be able to be used as your headline as well. And it's something that I want to embrace in the pre-discussion phase. So we actually get these thesis statements before we even start writing the article. We actually get these thesis statements down so that the article flows a lot better. Now, it's something I'm not particularly great at writing, but it is something that is going to improve our writing. So we do need to get better at that. And I'll maybe pull in some articles and I'll pull in some people to help out with that and get that process going. The next part of the pre-discussion phase of the article is something I want to get going also, where we can share research, we can share questions, we can discuss things like, hey, if you're writing an article on this particular topic, you should talk to this person because they have these particular views. Or have you thought about approaching an article from a specific point of view? So that's something I want to do as well. And we can use this. And by adding these two lines here, it means we can build discussion around those 2 points. And I'll show you how to do that in a moment. And then after this point, you've actually got the article itself. So where it says this single hashtag, that basically means the title. So this is where the article actually starts. And obviously, when you build this, you won't have an article. So there'll be nothing there initially. I've just put in this text just so I can show you how the comment system works. But this will be the next stage. So this will be all of our, above line 20, that's all our pre-discussion stuff. And that's kind of getting things set up so we can have these discussions, we can talk about these things. And then below line 20, this is our article. So once you've had your pre-discussion and you've written your article, that's when the review stage will start. So that's pretty much it. So we've created our initial document, and we can always come back and edit it, and we can add more things to it at any particular moment. Now this is the bit where it gets a bit interesting. So we're going to commit these changes, and then from here you'll notice there's this extra button at the bottom. This is really, really important. We do need to click on this button that says create a branch for the commit and start a pull request. If we don't do that, you can't do the review process. This extended description, we can add this later if we want to, or we can add it now. This area here is actually pinned to the top of the discussion page. So if I just put test, and you'll see what I mean in a moment, but this is actually pinned to the top of the page. So we can actually add whatever we want in here, and we can kind of reference it because it's at the top of the page. So we've got our title, we've got our extended description, we've clicked on this button that says create new branch. So we're going to propose the changes. Just give it a couple of seconds. Now in this next step, you can see that test bit's still there, and we can add our extra dialogue there if we want to. But all we're going to do now is press this create pull request. So we've now got the pull request, and you'll notice up in our top, we're in the Cypherpunk Times article, And if you see where it says pull request, so wherever we are, this will change. So you'll notice here it's completely changed. If I go into this folder here, you'll notice that my pull requests are completely different. So in order to see the pull request, which is your article in review, you need to be in the correct folder. So let me just click on the one that we was at. So go back to my repositories. And let's click on articles. And then we've got these pull requests. So if we click on these, we've got the demo article, and this is the one I'm currently building at the moment. So we can go into this article here, and you'll see that we've got 4 tabs. So we've got conversation, we've got commits, we've got checks, and we've got this file. Now the file area is where you're going to do all your editing. Okay, this area here, this conversation area under this tab, this is where all the comments come to. Now I'd recommend not adding comments directly here, and I'll show you why in a second. But this top header, so where it says test, we can edit this just by clicking on these 3 buttons, and we can press the edit, and we can add more details there if we want to at any particular moment. So let's just cancel that a moment, and let's head on over to the file changes, and this is where it gets really, really cool. Because everyone gets to see this, everyone gets to see all of this, and we can say, right, now we can start the discussion. So for instance, if we want to say, right, give me a better title, we hover over where it says title, and we say something like, can you okay, so can you think of a better title? And then we can say start the review process. Okay, so that's gone in. Now the benefit of doing it this way, it means other people can reply to that. So if they say, hey, have you thought about this title? They can actually add that there. Okay, and they can do that. And then we can carry on. So we can say, right, in the pre-discussion stage, so right, question, what about this question? What about ... for your article? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? So we can actually start the discussion there. And you'll notice every time you put in a discussion point, it actually pins it to the area. Now, when it gets to actually reviewing your article, this becomes really interesting because you can actually see. So if there's a spelling mistake here, you can say spelling error on, I don't know, whatever the word is, ... or you can say grammar error. So as a reviewer, you can actually put your comment in exactly where it needs to be. But as somebody that's going through and actually building the article, you can see where the problem is straight away. It does make it very, very easy to see. Now, as a reviewer, once you've finished adding your comments, you can just say, right, I've finished reviewing. So you can submit those reviews. Now, when we come back to the discussion page, which we're back on this conversation, you'll see that not only have you got the review, but you've also got the reply. So people can actually start replying to these reviews and adding their thoughts and adding their feedback, to those actual areas, which is really, really cool. So you can just add it there. Now, once you finish, so say for instance you go, oh God, where's my spelling mistake? Here it is. Oh God, there's a spelling mistake down here. You can go, right, let's go and correct that now. So you head back over to the file. You click on these 3 dots here, and you say edit file. So you come in, you know the error is on this line here. So you make the change, whatever it may be. Let me just put a couple of dots in there so you can see that I've made the change. And then you say, right, I'm going to commit that changes. If it's a big change, you can add a description, or you can just say commit changes. Now you notice at this particular moment, we're not creating another branch. We're just going to leave it in the same branch. So it updates that file. So we can press right, commit that change. Now, when we go back, we should see that change has actually disappeared. That conversation has actually disappeared because we've made an edit to it. It's actually gone away. If you didn't want it to go away, you can just add a reply. Oh, what did you mean by that? What do you want me to add there? Sorry, I didn't quite understand that. And then once you've got it right, you can actually say, right, let's just resolve that because I've updated that now. Let's just resolve it. So head back to the conversation. It should still be there, although it should be slightly behind now. So there's a spelling error here. Well, this is no longer valid. So we can just say resolve conversation, and it makes it a lot smaller. So if we look, if we go here, this one's resolved. If we want to see what that was all about, or if the reviewer thinks that you haven't done it properly, they can go, right, show that, and let's actually unresolve that because you haven't done what I've said you need to do. Okay, so they can unresolve that, which is really nice because as you go through and you edit your document, you can actually kind of correct all these things and you can make things smaller. So you can see exactly what still needs to be done. The reviewer can see what needs to be done, and it makes things very, very easy. That's pretty much it for the whole review process. As people add more, you'll see more happening in your conversation. You'll see the file changes and you'll be able to work your way through it. Once again, if you are going to make changes, what I would suggest is make the changes on your original first. So head on over to here, make the changes in whatever platform you're using, and then copy it into it. I always find it's better to have a working document and then use GitHub to actually show that you've made those changes. And you can just press those three dots here, and you can view file or you can edit file. Now, if you press the view file, that shows you the document without all the comments. So it shows you the actual what it looks like now. So here's all of our tables showing us all of our links and all the bits and pieces that we've done. Here's our thesis statement that we're going to build out. Here's our pre-discussion stuff that we're going to build out. But you see, it's all as one document, and it's all been properly rendered. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, oh God, how do I get back to where I was? Now, in order to get back to that discussion page, go to the pull request, and then you find it from here, and then you're back in the discussion. Hopefully that was okay. As we go forward, I'll probably kind of update some of this stuff, and I'll try and we'll try and streamline it a bit more. But for the bulk of it, the way I'm seeing it at the moment, as long as, let me go to the actual view page again. As long as we've got some of these pre-discussion stuff happening, and then we've got our article, this should be enough, and we should be able to edit it fairly straightforward. If this wasn't a good enough video, I will do another one. It's not a problem. I just wanted to kind of share those views and show you how this process works. If you guys want to give it a go, please do so. Don't forget, once you've actually created this, once you've created your pull request, you do need to share the link in the writer's channel. So you can go to the article, and from this conversation page, if you just share the link here, that'll be more than enough. Okay, so share that link, say, hey, I'm writing this article, go and check it out. And then when you check it out, you can just click on the file changes, and then you start working through the discussions. Okay, any problems, let me know, but that should be enough to get you going.